Greetings, Masanawana. We are back with yet an installment of the Yellow Corner. And this time we bring you the preview of our away trip to Dobsonville as we take on Swallows on Saturday afternoon at 1500 hours.
Sunday.
Sunday?
Yeah.
Ah, Rapelang. Sunday?
Hey, give me a Sunday.
Why do I think this game was on Saturday?
Like it's even.
Yo, okay. Before we start, please bear apologies, guys. I do not have electricity, so my lighting is not so perfect. Yes, yeah. I can't. I don't have lights, and I can't even use my ring light. But yeah, and there's load shedding coming up after this, so I can't wait get a shooter late, and then electricity doesn't come back. So yeah, it is what it is. Apologies for that. Raps, how are you?
I'm not Arizona.
No, I'm okay, man. I'm okay. I'm okay. 6 more guards of honors to go. Yeah, kumnandi ukuba yithi. Yeah, and another thing before we start, just want to send a message to everyone who's traveling during this Easter weekend. Or no, guys, please be safe on the roads. Yeah, may the traveling message be with everyone and come back home in one piece, and so that when the trophies that's why you will be there to celebrate with the team. So yeah, safe travels to and back from your different destinations, man. Perhaps let's get on with this preview, man. We're playing a team that's 13th on the log. What's harder during this time of the season? Playing a team in the top half or teams fighting relegation?
I think it is both. I think because of the teams that are on the top 8, they want to cement their place in the top 8 and ensure that they are part of the MTN 8. And also in the relegation zone, there are teams that want to get out of the relegation zone and they are desperate for points. So at this stage, everyone is desperate for points. You can see even the 3 teams that are fighting for the second spot. I think you can clearly see that everyone is desperate for points and everyone has different objectives. One can be getting the CAF Champions League spot, and others being in the top 8, and others also trying to get away from the relegation zone.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I hear you. Even though I feel it's much more difficult playing a team that's fighting relegation because they've got more to lose than team Lalang second spot. You know that status, PSL status, is worth a lot. It's worth millions. It makes a huge difference. You know, losing the difference between being in the top flight or being in the first division. So I really don't like playing these teams at this time of the season, more so when the league title is still there for the taking for maybe a few teams. Even the good thing now is that we've already won the league, you know. But if Nerso winning league, I wouldn't have wanted to play teams there. Like we said, we're playing Swallows. They're currently 13th. They've played 24 games. They've won less than 10 games. They won only 7 games, drawing 6, losing 11 games. They've scored 20 goals this season. Considered 29 goal difference. I want to give minus 20, minus 9. They currently on 27 points, and their points per game 1.13. With that said, do you think they will stay up? When you look at the teams below them, number 14 is cheaper. They are on 26 points. Maritzburg, 24 points. Gallants, 25 points. And then the remaining fixtures, that's Swallows, Sundowns at home, Stelis away, Maritzburg home, Chiefs away, Royal AM away. Will Swallows stay up?
Oh, it is a tough one. Oh, but if they continue playing like how they played against Amazon, if they continue being positive, I think they stand a chance of winning, more especially in their home games. I think the better performance comes from them playing at home because of out of the 20 goals they've scored this season, 15 of them were scored at home. So if they keep on scoring and grinding results at home, maybe away getting a draw, I think they stand a chance of surviving. And Bomarisbeke, they are under pressure as well as Mahumo Gallants because of their beneath solos. But I think solos, I think they'll survive.
As Rabs, you saying at home, ne? You're talking about how good they are at home. They have only two home games left. One of those games is against Sundowns, so you might as well write off that game against Sundowns and say they only have Maritzburg at home. So, yeah,
I think
yeah.
I think what will help them, I think because of other teams will help them to ensure that they stay up because of Lebanon Marisbeck, they still have teams to play, and Gallants, they still have teams to play, and we don't know what result they will get out of those fixtures. So I think Swallows needs to do their job, and I think other teams will help them in terms of ensuring that the teams beneath them also drop points. I think they will need to do it for themselves, and they will need favors from other teams as well.
I fear for them. I'm not gonna lie to you. I fear for them. Maybe not direct relegation, but maybe going to the playoffs. I look at Gallants, man. I know you can never say a team is good enough to stay up because there've been some teams who've gone down with amazing squads, you know. But I think something tells me with Gallants will stay up. Man. Rabs, there have been multiple coaching changes at Swallows throughout the season. They started the season with Kerr as the coach, and then they got rid of him. Musa became the interim coach, and then they got that coach that recently left them in Middendorp. That you know, this the coach would say this team's always going back to these coaches who've failed. It annoys me so much, man. It ticks me off, man. Utlamubona beginning of Utlamubona next season. Utlabali South Africa mo attend the game. It's like fair like analyst for the team. Every game, put them more and then there will be a team that will give him a chance instead of giving Musa a chance to prove himself. It really annoys me in how we always go back to these guys who man Middendorp was coaching usale primary kwana man half uqedile una degree no ntsa coach half bana ba a chance man. It annoys me. And then after they now have Nyadama again as the interim coach, but they brought Mamila as a technical advisor. And you know, in South Africa, how about Tebela as coach, but you are now the technical advisor of the team? Or if they want to bring you in as Battle coach, they'll hire you and say you are a technical advisor. So we know what technical advisor mean in football terms in South Africa. Man, I've said a lot. I'm even lost my trail of thought. But yeah, I think my question was, do you think they are where they are because of the changes, the multiple coaching changes that have taken place during the course of the season?
Yeah, no, I think their CEO needs to stop prioritizing banter on Twitter. He should focus on his team. I think he made a lot of unnecessary changes in the technical team. I think he needs to find the right guy and believe in him. Even though that coach might lose a lot of games, and but he needs to stick with him and believe with him. I think this thing of changing coaches 3 times in a season, it doesn't help because of how you expect players to adjust to the coach's philosophy and style of play. It takes a lot of games. So I think this coach, this chairman as well, I think he needs to run his team better. I mean, I expect a lot from him. And remember when Swallows got relegated, most of fans, they wanted Swallows to come back. They missed Swallows because of their history and contribution to the league. And if they continue with this, they'll find themselves back on national division, national first division, and we know how tough it is to come back. So I think the owner needs to get his team in a right shape and right order. And I believe if he do those things, Swallows, I think, can be a team that fights for the top 8, that fights for domestical trophies.
Oh man, this chopping and changing of coaches, having the coach say three in one season, man, it's absolute it's total madness, man. How do you expect, like you say, players to understand philosophy? It confuses the player. I mean, one moment we are playing like this, the next moment we are playing like, because if you checked, the one thing that I saw, it was when Middendorp was still coach. In some games, they played Katri at the back, they played Kwanda, Sibia, as well as Kimamfano Sasman. Now Musa believes in two. So it's you're changing, and I mean it's difficult for players to absorb different things, especially coming from different coaches, man. Let's talk about their approach. Like I mentioned, the fixtures are saying. I think this game, Yabona Sundowns, a point won't be a bad result for them. To be honest, I think they'll be very happy with a point. So if they're happy with a point, I think they will be cautious in this game. They'll use a very cautious approach to this match. I think they will have men behind the ball. They won't high press Sundowns. They won't play a low block. To just make sure they have men behind the ball, and then they close down the passing lanes for Sundowns. Then in the first round, they used the set piece quite a lot. They crossed the ball quite a lot, and they are unfortunate not to get a goal or two against us in that first round. So I think they will use the set piece again. They'll try and get something out of the set piece there. And then the way they use the full back thing, it's they don't use them the same way. Ne? One stays, one goes. Kwanda, most of the time, he doesn't go. So now they started using Sam. Sam, in the build-up, he'll play Bolo into the middle field, maybe to Mtetwa, and then overlap on the side. And then he'll get the ball back as he gets into the final third of the opponent, and he look to cross. That's how he does it. He doesn't overlap with the ball. He plays it inside, makes a run on the wing, and then crosses the ball. I think the one player that we need to guard to take good care of is Autio Shiran Vito Leona Kagiso. I think Kagiso Malenga is in a rich vein of form right now. He's scoring frequently. And apart from that, apart from the fact that he's found his goal scoring boots, that guy packs a shot. He packs a mean shot out here. He can hit the ball out here. So on the edge of the box, we need to make sure we press him as quickly as possible when he gets at the ball. There's a goal that Swallows scored when we played them 2 seasons ago.
Free kick,
where he hit a rocket and then they scored a rebound. So we need to be careful of that. And another player that I've seen is now back into the squad. I think he left Skukune when he was there. His stats were unbelievable for a team like Skukune, and they let go of him. He can assist, he can score. So we need to be careful of that. Another thing that I think they've improved on the change of goalkeepers. I think Banjwa is error prone. Agbe is a better goalkeeper than Banjwa. So yeah, I think that's how they approach the game. Your thoughts?
I think they took some lessons out of the Cape Town City approach when they faced Mamelodi Sundowns. You look at how City were disciplined. When it was time to mark, they were picking up the players. But once they regained the possession, they had a plan in terms of moving and going forward. So let's all say they shouldn't focus on closing us down. They should have a plan. Once they have the ball, they know what to do, because of, even if Sundowns will dominate in terms of the possession, but Lebona Swallows at some stage they will win the possession and they need to know what to do with the ball, because of it don't happen more often where they find themselves with the ball. So I think they need to know what to do with the ball when they regain the possession. And one thing I've witnessed is that against Orlando Pirates, three of the goals that they considered, they came from the crosses. They came from the crosses. So that means against Mamelodi Sundowns, they should stop being too narrow, because of once they become too narrow, that means they leave a space for Mudawu or Mudiba sometimes to overlap. So I think they should have the right shape at the back. And against Arrows, they played with too many defenders and midfielders, and they were struggling in terms of moving forward with the ball. But against Amazon, which was their last game, they rectified that mistake. They played with a single six. As much as it was risky, but it meant that they will have more offensive for more offensive players, and hence we saw nice combination play, more especially their goal that they scored. I think it was nice movement and nice interchanging of passes, and that's what you want to see from Swallows. And them having more offensive players, it made Msebetu wa Malinga ube easy, which means to stay inside the box and position yourself very well. Because of, if they play with less offensive players, that means Malinga has to drop too deep to collect the ball, and he becomes too far from the goal post, and that is your guy who gives you goals. And I think Leo Wasim Isaacs, if he's going to feature in this game, he'll be very vital in terms of holding up play and protecting the ball and waiting for the other guys to get closer to him, so that he lays those passes and move to the right spaces and channels.
Very good points, Abs. Very good points. I think this is how they'll set up. I think they'll have Agbe in goal. They'll have Kwanda at right back, and then Alan and Saswan as their two CBs. And then they'll have Sam at left back. And then, hey, more midfielding, man. I think they'll have Mtetwa and maybe Said. And then have Demons Kamo right in. Hey, that guy works hard, man. He runs throughout the game, and then Pachi on the left, and then I think up top they will have Malinga Lintole Isaacs. Sundowns, what can we do to win this game? How do you see us approaching it?
I think saying that the fullbacks of Silos, they become too narrow and they get closer to their center backs. It will be very interesting to see how Mudiba will be placed in this game, whether I will invite or whether I will try to exploit that space they leave on the sides. And also, I think one another thing that Mudiba gives us when he inverts and about closer to Tibbs,
Yes.
that means it pushes our two number eight forward, and it gives us a good numbers in terms of in getting inside the final third. But what disappointed me against Cape Town City, we had those moments where we arrived on the final third very nice, and we had possession, and we had moments where we outnumbered them. But the only thing that let us down, I think, it was the decision making with the ball, and we fought the ball. We find out the guy who has the ball takes a wrong decision, and the guy who doesn't have the ball makes a bad run. So I think we need to do better when we get to the final third.
Mhm. Yeah, I think in this game I would prefer Mudiba to invert. By him inverting, it pushes the 80 into the positions at the 10. So we're playing got the 80 towards the 10, and then there's a 10 on top. So get it the 83. And I think that's where I would like to see him. I think we'll mix In the last game, we played with what's supposedly our best 11. But I think this game there will be a mix between those players and then the fringe players. Ne? Swallows have leadership at the back. They lack leadership, especially when they try and play an offside trap, which is something that they like doing. They play an offside trap, and when Sibia plays, more often between Yanale Sussman, one of them will drop, and then like the offside trap is not well coordinated. Ne? One of them will drop, and then the other one will push up. Ne? So if we can use that against them, like play offside trap, play the ball behind their defense, I expect someone like Nasir to be doing to be doing the half moon runs. Because I think with the way they play, we will. If one of our strikers makes the half moon runs, then I think we should also target their right side of defense in position. Kwanda. Kwanda is tall. He takes time over 10, and it's easy to play the 1-2 against him and then have him 10 and face the goal. If you look at first goal Pirates, that's exactly what they did. They played the 1-2. I think it was a triangle, and they got behind him and then they played the ball into the box. So it's easy to play behind Nakwanda. And because I think with Mudiba inverting, we'll have numerical superiority around that center circle, because I think they play a double pivot. We will overload them. And it will give us a chance in terms of progressing the ball and getting into our final third, which is their defensive unit. Starting lineup, should I go first or are you going first?
I'll go first. I think I'll go with the last lineup that played against Cape Town City, but I'll only make 2 changes. I would bench Mayema and Alande. I would start Sipumbule and Bless.
Okay, I have a similar lineup to that. I have Williams. I'd bring Morena back. Play Morena. I'd play Grant. I'd play AB. I want to see AB play and being attacked, being made to work. And I think Wasim is similar to striker says man striker Cape Town City. Like I said, I want to see how he behaves against a player that works him. Wasim Isaacs will work you, will elbow you and stuff like that. Also, the aerial balls, he'd give him a game, and I want to see that. I'd have Mudiba, I'd have Debza, and then Bless Salim Kuli says the 80 Zwane at the tip of the diamond. I'd start Nasir Lishalulile up top. Score prediction?
I think we'll win. I think we'll win 1-0.
Kimanga Kora?
I think Tembazon will score. I think he'll score.
I will go for 2-0. I think Nasir will score, and maybe you'll get a place. Yeah, Raps, before we end it, let's talk about the Champions League draw, quarterfinal and semi-final draw that took place on Thursday. Are you happy with the draw? We're playing Bello is that in the quarterfinal. We're starting in Algeria. And when we progress to the semi-final, we'll play either Simba or Wydad, starting away as well. In the final, we're starting away as well. So, Kadi 10th June, 2 days before my birthday, we'll be playing the Champions League final at Loftus. Yeah, I might have the best birthday ever, man. Are you happy with the draw?
Yeah, no, I think I'm okay with the draw. I haven't watched the opponents that we are going to face, and I believe they are a different team from what we faced the last time we played them. I think, and remember when we played them, we played in a neutral venue, which is which was their home game. I think it was in Tanzania,
Yeah.
and we lost in Loftus. So I think we are obviously are going to see something different, and Alogona we are a different team. So I think it will be an exciting fixture. We know that the Southern Africa teams and Northern Africa teams, when they meet, I think it will be a very interesting challenge.
Are we going to the final?
Yeah, definitely. I think the big test will be progressing to the semi-final. I think once we pass that test, I think we stand a chance of winning the CAF Champions League. If we ensure that we do whatever it takes to qualify to the semi-finals, I think we'll win the CAF Champions League, because of we haven't went to the final in a while. And remember the last we haven't went to the semi-final in a while. The last time we went to the semi-final was when we played without Casablanca, and Pizzo said there's always a goal in Pretoria. So I want us to go back to the semi-final and face without Casablanca and do the revenge.
Yeah, Barcolot. Barcolot. No, I think the draw was very kind to us, and yeah, I believe in Coach Roland and his boys, and yeah, the best we can do is if everyone does his job, Coach Roland plans with his technical team, the players do their job in the field, and us as fans, we do our job in the stands. I think we will win it this time around. And yeah, that's it, Masandawana. That's another installment of the Yellow Corner. The next time you see us will be next week, Monday or Tuesday, when we preview a game here on our away trip to Golden Arrows. Yeah, guys, enjoy your Easter weekend with your loved ones. And like I said, when you open in the opening, please be safe on the roads and come back in one piece so that we enjoy the trophy in the next few weeks. Until then, sharp Masandawana, sharp Mndugish.
So sure, also sharp Masandawan.